Okay.
You have to have 3 seals of executive authority, okay? You've got the certificate of live birth, or the DD-214. That is 1 seal under the state, okay? Then you need to have a second seal for the incorporated municipal, and that would either be per a UCC or by an apostille. Okay? Both of them carry a state seal, don't they?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Come on, people. Think.
But,
I've been trying to teach you guys to think outside the box here on this stuff. When I put something on there, per 3 seals of executive authority, that's what you ought to be questioning. Where are these 3 seals? And then I put it behind the UCC1 or the UCC number. Seal on file. And then you put your seal down below, endorser, witness my hand and seal. That's the 3rd and final seal.
Okay.
Because you're coming in as the final authority in the process.
So apostilling the certificate of live birth is not going to give me the extra seal? Or
if you do the apostille of what those other documents that I had up there, if you get that apostilled, all you have to do is put the reference number for that apostille.
Oh, okay. Got it.
You ever seen an apostille document?
No, I haven't.
There's 10 things on an apostille. Okay, number 1, country. Number 2, this public document has been signed by. Number 3, acting in the capacity of. 4, bearing the seal or stamp. Or 4. 5, at the place where it was certified, where the final certification is taking place, this apostille. The date. 7, by who. 8, the number. 9, the seal. 10, the signature. There's 10 items on an apostille. You guys got to do a little more research and study on this stuff, okay? Because you don't know what you're doing. I've tried to give you some insight into a lot of the things that I'm coming up with and seeing. How many crosses were there on Calvary? 3. How many seals do you need? 3. And then you send this to you're coming in as an executive warrant in order because you're a territorial governor. A territorial governor has more authority than an administrative governor because you have the right to vote and veto any law that's out there that's opposing your understanding of the laws, okay? Your belief system of right and wrong. You can stand over any traffic court as a territorial governor and pardon your fictional person. Does not a governor have the pardoning power because he's an executive? Now, the template that basically is in the PDF format there with all the blanks on it, you can print that out and then handwrite everything else in. Or if you've got the capability, you can type it in and then print that onto the back of your certificate of live birth or on the back of your DD-214. I'm going to reiterate this one last time. If you've got a DD-214, you've got to get that down to the county and put it into the military discharge bounty land file. You retain your original DD-214. They will take a copy of that, scan or take the original, scan it into the system, and then they will give you your original back. Then you, as the territorial governor, have the right to utilize and to get your military bounty. Same thing with your certificate of live birth. That is your civilian bounty claim check. And you stand over all of these other administrative officials as a territorial governor. Another word to go and look up is commanda. C-O-M-M-E-N-D-A. Got that? C-O-M-M-E-N-D-A. And then look at all the abbreviations of that with an M. Receive, retain, commendation, recommendation, praise. Commendation, praise, recommendation. The voluntary subjugation of a free man to a lord in order that he might secure the Lord's protection. Commendator, a person holding a benefit in commendation or commenda that is pending the appointment of a regular person. Mm-hmm. Commendatory, letters of recommendation, letters of credence from a bishop in behalf of the travelers in his diocese. Voluntary service rendered to a superior, commendation, or C-O-M-M-E-N-D-A-T-U-S. The more you look into the dictionary, the more you will learn and understand. The more you look at the Bible from what it really is, the more you will understand. The more you will understand that you have been lied to your whole damn life to try and control you for some ungodly reason. people have been out here trying to do a bunch of these different things, okay? I've tried to tell people that some of these things may work in one state or one jurisdiction, but then lo and behold, they don't work in another. Because in some cases, you might have a more receptive judge or whatever, and basically think that you did something right. No, he maybe have been a little more merciful than the other judges. So following all this garbage that people have been putting out here is just, I mean, we've done almost everything that people are redoing and claiming that they're getting remedy with. How come it didn't work before? Because it's being played out in a different jurisdiction. And in some cases, some of these judges are trying to be Mr. Nice Guy in the process. But you don't look at it that way. I try to tell people out here that you always have to look at what's going on both sides of the aisle. Everybody always wants to look at the defendant's side and say, hey, that was where's that? No, you might try and take a look at the plaintiff's side in the action and see that they may have been the nice guy and pulled the item away. Because they knew your family or whatever. It's hard to say. But when you start to find the real truth, then you will start to see what I'm trying to talk about all along here. And we have to come in, as we were incorporated. We are a territory. We're a hunk of land. The body is a hunk of land. You're a territory. You have metes and bounds. You are either incorporated or unincorporated within the boundaries of the United States of America. Being incorporated, you were incorporated under the state. The United States cannot make you an incorporated territory. It has to come from the state you were born in. The states are the only ones that have the real authority of incorporation in the process of incorporating a municipality. And you're a municipal, okay? And then they try and get you under their jurisdictional control of being a state municipality. So that's incorporated. Unincorporated means that you are not registered. You're not incorporated into that state. You don't have a certificate of live birth on file. You maybe have your county land record on file, but you don't have a certificate of live birth with the state making you incorporated under their control. You're not really under their control. You're still free. But you have to know how to pull the levers, the strings. Just because a person buys stock in a company does not make that company a ruler over that stockholder. Does it?
Nope.
Of course it does.
So unincorporated is like what the Amish are and several of these other organizations. They're unincorporated, territorial, and then when they come of age, they're a governor of their own territory. As an elector. What's the difference between a governor and an elector? Not much. You elect to do something or you don't elect to do something. The same powers that a governor has. But a governor has a certain jurisdiction over the territory, over the body territory that he is overseeing as a territorial governor. They only appear to have control over you because they have to get your consent. Every court action they ever do, they have to get your consent to have control over you. That must mean something, that you're a free territory, but you're incorporated into the state. So now you come and you use the state officials as you are the governor over them, one of the governors over them, with your executive warrant to get your funds. Does anybody have any questions on that blank, pretty much blank template there I had for the executive warrant and order about what goes in each block?
The line under certificate of live birth, that's just the our own tracking number, right? At the top?
Yes.
Over the issue date.
It's like your check number.
Okay.
You have the check number at the top, and then you have it down in the right-hand corner at the bottom. On a regular check.
And on that line under executive warrant and order, per the state, incorporated territorial, my name, certificate of live birth?
Per the state, okay?
Right.
Ohio, incorporated territorial, and then your name that's on the certificate of live birth.
Okay, got it.
So if you've already filed the UCC-1, you can use that seal as one of the 3 seals.
You put the number in there.
Okay.
That UCC is on file with the Secretary of State, and it's under the state seal of the Secretary of State.
Yep. Okay.
The same thing with the apostille. When you get that, they have an account or they have a number, a tracking number for that apostille. that they issued.
I don't have a DD-214, but I do have a photocopy of my selective service card they sent me. I can go get that apostilled, or do I have to record it first?
Well, see, that's for military bounty, okay? You would have to turn around and put that down, but you're not going to get too much out of that, okay? That would just be sort of like the driver's license. You know, there's some funds there, but there's very little funds there.
Right, but it's a seal.
When you bring out everything and you move from being an incorporated territory to an unincorporated territory, that would close everything down.
Okay.
Why haven't we been getting too much response from the courts? Because we were not going in as a territorial governor. We were going in as an individual in a lot of cases. At least that's how they were looking at us.
On the very lower right of Warrant, there's a blank line with nothing there.
What?
On the very lower right. On the bottom, you have municipal routing number, incorporated municipal account number, and then a blank
What did
line.
I tell you about the check just a little bit ago? That check number is up the top and at the bottom. Pull a check out and look at it. It looks exactly like this.
I should have known that. Okay.
You've got where it's being drawn from, the bank. You've got pay to. You've got for so much. Then you have your account number, your routing number, your 9-digit routing number. And then you have the account number. And then you have the check number again down at the bottom.
Right.
We've gone over this numerous times. I haven't changed the format that I've been trying to use for years. We just had to find out who the hell we really were. And we're an incorporated territorial governor, and we can also turn around and be an unincorporated territorial governor. Now, as an unincorporated territorial governor, you're not going to be processing your stuff through the state of Ohio. Where are you going to go to? Now you're going to go to the Treasury out in D.C. because you're unincorporated territory within the boundaries of the United States of America. So now you move the control away from the state jurisdiction over to the national treasury by being unincorporated. And then as being unincorporated, you're going to have your own seals. You'll have your apostille at the national level. And then you would have your county record entry into the land records or the military records book. And then you would put your seal, so you would still end up with 3 executive authority seals when you go to the Treasurer of the United States of America as an unincorporated territorial governor. You go into court. You come in as the incorporated territorial governor because you're incorporated into that state right now. You're no longer as an individual. You're as an executive officer. And as an executive officer, the living is the executive officer. You come in and you can pardon and remove those traffic tickets. You can order the settlement of any of these commercial claims by putting a warrant against the state treasurer to make the fund settlement. You stand over the Attorney General out here. He has to comply with what the governor tells him to do. At least that's the way I've always seen it in the movies. But see, when you come of age as an elector, you're also a territorial governor. Like the word commentor, COMMENDATOR, a person holding a benefits in commend COMMENDAN, pending the appointment of a regular parson. You're also a parson because you have your own church in your own territory, your own set of beliefs. See, that's part of the separation of church and state, okay? You've got to separate yourself away from their state religion of believing that they're gods. They're not. They're creations of man. And a creation of man is not a god. But the spirit that created man is your God, is your beliefs, is your understandings of right and wrong, your grounds of dominion, your territorial boundaries, metes and bounds. I don't know whether you guys really understand the importance of what I'm trying to say here. A lot of you guys basically are just backing off because basically you think I'm totally run amok or something. And then you don't sit and listen to what I have to say because you have your mindset that basically I'm not right. You go into the word definitions and you will find out quite a bit. I posted some of those definitions up there. To the point to where even the Supreme Court comes down and confers with the governor. Supreme power, okay, was one of the definitions. Bailiff, the jurisdiction of a sheriff or bailiff. Sheriff, a public officer, an officer having the dual character of a peace officer and a ministerial officer. Well, you have your own territorial sheriff controlling your peace, operating under the laws that basically supply the protections. You can veto a law. Supreme power, such power as will secure an efficient execution of the laws which in the particular province of the executive department to be accomplished, however, in the manner and by the methods within the limitations prescribed by the Constitution and statutes of the state. Now, I think that basically, per Article 9 and 10, you had some pretty damn supreme powers. You just didn't know what supreme powers you had. Also, about being classified as an elector in the Constitution. You had to meet the same qualifications as a House of Representative person. And I've told you before that no man can represent another man lawfully unless he is not indebted to somebody else. If he's indebted, he can't represent somebody else because now he's being controlled. That's why I told you also that a female cannot be a judge because they are under bondage. They are under the bonded protection of their father, their husband, or their dead husband. That means somebody else is controlling their set of beliefs and actions. But people don't want to look at it like that. I gave Tom a post up there, that executive officer, and that came out of Black's Fourth. Executive pardon, executive powers and duties, on which Supreme Court may advise governor, means a duty pertain to execution of laws as they exist. See, the Supreme Court kept sending our stuff back to us, okay? A couple of the other courts sent their stuff back to us because we weren't coming in the right capacity.
They sent mine back saying that it didn't include the fee.
That's one, yeah, but basically, there's more to it than that, okay? See, that gets you to think in one regard. No, there's something else. What was really missing? Not the fee. You were approaching them in the wrong status. Now, if you came in as a territorial governor, basically then, as a governor going into that court, you would have a different understanding. You wouldn't be asked for that fee, would you? No. You think the governor pays the fees?
No.
No. Because basically the executive branch really stands over the legislative and the judicial branches in this country.
I read a law somewhere that they can't charge us fees to operate in those courts anyway.
Only they can charge them to nitwits, okay? The people that don't know who they are. And if they can get away with it, more power to them. Executive warrant of governor, of asylum, state, but license or privilege to move within the state and may be revoked before border is crossed. And I've tried to tell you that basically you get back to your territory and see it's a territory that has the sovereignty. It's not some fiction government that's on paper that has sovereignty. It's what comes from the land that it gives its sovereignty. What jurisdiction does it really have? Well, if all the little territorial governors don't know who they are, and they gave their governorship over to the state to be the big governor over them, that's where the government, the administrative government, got their sovereignty from the people. Otherwise, their whole sovereignty is basically the area of that state capital where they sit on their asses. And see, those people that are sitting on their asses in those places, they are the ones that are giving their land sovereignty to the state administrative system. But you have the right to veto any law that basically is against your rights. Either your natural rights or whatever other rights you have, to where they've infringed upon our protections and our powers and tried to take them away from us. Okay, go ahead and open it up to questions, Tom.
Okay. How did you come about, what led you to the word commenda? I mean, I've seen it applied, but I don't see what got you there.
When I get back upstairs, I'll tell you where it came from.
Okay. Very good.
Something else I was just looking up in the dictionary, and basically it had the word in there, and I said, wait a minute, let me check this out. And you always check out other words like that. Okay?
Right. Okay.
You never take for granted that commend, C-O-M-M-E-N-D, means a command.
Just to praise or recommend.
Yeah. And see, that's what most people, in their thought processes, that means command. And basically they just go on about their business.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've said all along, basically the first thing that anybody coming, either going into junior high or going into high school should have gotten was basically a dictionary, a good dictionary. And sat down and had their parents explain to them why they needed to understand the words, because that's what the Bible says. You have to understand the word. Isn't that what the Bible says?
Yes.
It's the word. It's the word. If you don't understand the word, basically they're going to have control over you. And there's a whole bunch of words out here. You've got to put on your suit of armor.
And the words have a whole variety of meaning, and you have to know which meaning to choose in which circumstance.
And you will get that when you sit down and understand how the words are being utilized.
Yes.
Okay? And that's why you, in some cases, especially using the law dictionaries, you had better really sit down and understand and look at all the different law dictionaries, because basically, in a lot of cases, one's going to tell you the truth, but the others are all going to tell you a lie. Because it's to their best interest. The bankers and the bankers' attorneys are writing the law dictionaries. And they always write the law dictionaries for their benefit. And to have control over you. No, I went back and I was looking at Ecclesia.
Oh.
And the next one after Ecclesia is Ecclesia Commente, or C-O-M-M-E-N-D-A-T-A.
Commendata.
Just because you don't think that that word applies to what you're looking at, you need to relook at it, because now when you turn around and go to the other definition of the word, then you'll find out something. Just like there's another word for debt. Not D-E-B-I-T, but D-E-B-E-T.
Mm.
And that was on that word definition that I just gave to you, Tom. Okay? D-E-B-E-T. Second word, E-T. Third word, D-E-T-I-N-E-T. And then the two words that follow below it. He is indebted and he withholds a writ of debt, which was said to be brought in the debt and detent, or in the detent only, that it was alleged that the defendant owed the debt and withheld it, or simply that he withheld or detained it. If the original creditor sued the original debtor, or sued the original debtor's heirs upon the obligation binding on them, and see, that's what they have. They created a bankrupt person. He is your debtor. He is the one that is sitting in the state treasury. That is the account that's there, that's holding your funds, that are keeping the funds from you. You have to now come of age, and you have to come in under the 3 seals and get your access to that. And the 3rd seal is always the highest seal. You had the good thief, you had the bad thief, and then you had Jesus on the crosses, the 3 seals. The bad thief is the certificate of live birth under state seal. The good thief is the apostille or the UCC that you have processed through under state seal. And then the center cross is you with your seal. But the bankers and the religious leaders and everything else that wants to kind of control people have hid this shit all away from you, right in plain sight. The good thief will be with you in heaven. Isn't that what it says? So when you have your apostille or your UCC, and then you come in under your seal, you're going to be taking your assets and going to heaven. Going about your merry way. And you'll have left that bad thief sitting there. He's been deposited. He's been buried for that much out of your account. I hope you guys can see this, because I hate to think that I'm the only nitwit out here that basically has any mind-opening understanding of this stuff.
Well,
in this regard.
I see it now, but I didn't until you brought it up.
Yeah, see, the certificate of live birth is going to be buried. It's a done deal. He's done. He's dead. But yet and see, that's under a red letter down at the bottom. So once you've utilized that document, it's dead. He's not going to be in your hands. You can't resurrect that document again. But you can continue to utilize the UCC or the apostille document, the good thief, and then you've got your seal out there as the Jesus seal. or the Son of God seal, whatever you want to call it. The living.
So we can't use the tribunal trustee seal?
Yes.
Okay.
That's your seal. Your right and left index finger. But see, it's the document that basically you're killing. The bad thief is that copy of the certificate of live birth. They can't reissue that certificate of live birth with that same serial number. They can issue a new one with a new serial number, but they can't reissue that one that you just killed.
Is that why every time you get a new birth certificate, they put a new number on it?
Yes, it's just a tracking number. It's a new instrument. It's a new negotiable instrument against your account. And see, when you basically fill that out and send that to the Treasury, they go and pull out $100,000 or whatever. Then basically that instrument is now dead. It can't be resurrected again, right?
Right.
It's just like you having a check. Okay? You have a check for a checking account. You have the authority. You have a good thief, a bad thief, and you, the living. The Jesus factor on that check. Once that check has been cashed, it cannot be resurrected and draw more funds out of the bank. That's the bad thief. In other words, a bank robber. One taking funds out of the bank. So he can't be used again. He's dead. You shot him in the alley. But yet your bank account number is the good thief, and it's still there. And then you have the authority under your signature out there as the Jesus factor. And you get a new check against the account.
Mm.
If people would just start looking at this from a common sense standpoint, they might wake up on this damn thing and stop believing all the garbage that people have been taught for eons out here. I mean, to keep you totally off guard about some hocus-pocus guy floating around out there in Never Land, coming down, patting you on the back and kicking you in the ass when you've done something good and bad. No, that's your own understanding within your mind that's doing that. Causing you to have remorse or joy that you have done something right or that you have done something wrong. It's all within you. Again, you. Okay? And the first letter in you is a Y. and a Y normally has 3 branches. Doesn't it?
Yep.
Everything is in threes that is right with the universe. Anybody else have any questions?
So we should wait till we get the apostille and then use whatever other seal we have.
If you've done a
and our
UCC
seal.
in the past, you can use that. Okay? If it had anything to do with, now the thing is, okay, you
Do I
have to
send it to
submit.
that state?
Huh?
So do I have to send it to that state that I got the?
It has to be with that state.
Okay, because that's not where the birth certificate is.
Yes, you have to have your apostille with the state that you were born in.
Right. But the UCC I have is from Ohio, and the birth certificate is from New York.
Okay, I would try and go and get a UCC from New York, or basically get the apostille from New York.
Okay.
Because
I got 3
what
seals.
treasurer are you going to go to?
Well, I was going to do the New York one because that's where the birth certificate was.
That's what I would say too.
Right.
Because see, that's where your territorial governorship is located, or governorship is located.
Right. So all 3 seals probably need to be from New York State.
No, 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Well, that works then. I'm good.
The 3rd one is you.
Right.
And then see, now when we go to the district court, we go in under that writ of DETINUE. A common law remedy for the recovery of a species of chattels wrongfully withheld from the plaintiff. And we come in as a territorial governor, issuing a writ of detent, okay? And also in the process, we're doing a unincorporation. We're coming out and we're terminating our incorporation to be unincorporated. And then we will have our treasury moved out of the state over into the national treasury. Where we were trying to get it all along. Not under this independent treasury system. See, it's through the state treasurers that basically they're working with the DTC and Seed and Company, the independent treasury of the nation. That's what Seed and Company is all about. The municipal accounts. The incorporated territorial municipal accounts of the people is what the Seed and Company is holding at the DTC. And then the states are utilizing it as a beneficiary in the process. either under the Certificate of Live Birth registration or the Selective Service registration. And then utilizing the damn Social Security account routing number, 9-digit routing number. Like all banks utilize a 9-digit routing number. Yeah, see, if you're going to send it into the Secretary or the Treasurer of the state, you best have 2 state seals for that state on there. One is the Certificate of Live Birth, and then the other is going to be the UCC or the apostille, seal from the Secretary of that state. And then you apply your territorial governor or governor's seal.
And apostilling the Certificate of Live Birth doesn't count.
That other apostille that I put up there in the past, okay? Now, we might turn around and do a modification on that and also put that down as incorporated territory.
Okay.
Along with the ecclesia. I haven't gotten any of my apostilles back. I haven't got my request for my 2 certificates of live birth back yet either. And they've been over a week for most of them. But I've thrown so much shit at them that they don't know where in the hell I'm coming from half the time anymore. But I know where I'm at. And it's sort of a good thing to keep them off balance. Hey, I mean, if you're playing a football game or something like that, you keep the defense from knowing exactly where in the hell you're going to attack. A pitcher pitching basically keeps the batter off guard because the batter doesn't know exactly where that pitch is going to come from. That bat only has about 2.5 inches of clearance one way or the other, okay? But yet the strike zone is a pretty big area. So you throw it to where you think that he's not going to be at. That's the whole game. You attack where you think that they're going to not be because they're going to be defending some other area. It's all a game. You just have to learn how to play the game and the rules of the game. And we've been listening to a lot of wrong people trying to say, well, here's the rules of the game over here. No, all those codes and everything else is just hype. It's just like the cheering section, the crowd gets you into a false sense of where you are. You have to concentrate on the game that you're playing and take the crowd out of the picture. You let the crowd play upon the other player, keeping him off guard from knowing that you're coming in with the real law over here. And he has no defense against the real law. All the prophets down through the years have always used metaphors. And they're trying to break it down to the people that were living at the time. These prophets were nothing more than somebody who understood somewhat how to play the game. They weren't supernatural or anything like that. They just looked to find out how to play the game. The Willie Mays or the Babe Ruth that knew how to play the game a little better than
So. Somebody trying to jump in?
Yeah.
What?
Sounded like someone was trying to jump in.
Yeah, jump in anytime.
You had a question, Jen?
Yeah.
This is in regards to, let me take you off the speaker. This is in regards to what was going on with when I told you I sent in the cease and desist. There was a private legal process server came to see me back on September 16th, and I thought it was to the situation that I was going through with the courts because the husband wants to leave the state of Wisconsin back to New Jersey. And ironically, it is not.
Greg.
It is for notice in motion for contempt for not paying child support. I guess this is their comeback for me.
See, you don't know what you're talking about on child support, okay? You have a state contract, a marriage certificate, okay?
Exactly.
You got a divorce, okay? Now, the state is the one that's supposed to come in and pay that child support.
Exactly. Because the marriage has an insurance policy on it.
Yes, and basically you have to sit with the husband and tell him, hey, you turn that over to the state treasurer under that marriage certificate to draw the funds out of the treasury account under his treasury account. It's his bankrupt that owes the child support, not him.
No, not me.
Or not you either, okay?
Yeah.
You have to turn around and you send those bills as a governor or a governess to the treasurer of the state
Of New Jersey.
wherever you have that contract at.
Yeah. See, I'm sort of stuck in a way because the only thing that I have is I don't have that marriage license. I have a certificate of marriage, and it's a pink copy.
Do you have a certificate of live birth?
I don't even know what I have. I have an Englewood Department of Health with a registration number on it with a seal. I also
Do you have a certificate of live birth?
I don't think so. I can't. It doesn't say anything on the certificates that it's a certificate of live birth. I also have the original that you were talking about the other night.
This is a birth certificate that came from the state, okay?
Yes, I do.
For you.
Live birth.
And,
Yeah.
and not every state uses that terminology, certificate of live birth. Ohio uses certificate of birth registration.
A birth certificate.
Yes, I have 2 birth certificates. I ordered them back in March. It says certificate of birth.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, you can do an UCC-1 and claim that as your property. You're the secured party creditor. And basically your other is a territorial, incorporated territorial municipality. Your first fiction's name that is on that certificate. Okay? Then you get that UCC from the state of your birth. Then you turn around and you do this warrant, this executive warrant. And you come in as the governor and get funds out of the account.
Don't even look at me.
Then you will have the funds to pay it. Then you can turn around and spend a little time in learning how to go after the damn marriage certificate. That was a fraudulent claim also. And anyway, the wife does not owe child support to the kid or to the ex-husband. Whose estate does the kid belong to?
The husband.
The husband.
The state.
The husband is now guardian over that child. He's the one that's responsible for taking care of the child. The whole damn problem was that men and women don't know their places in life when they get married. And then they go off and they want to be individuals. This whole government banking system and everything was out here to destroy the families. And the people have played right along with this, with the bankers. You hate the bankers, but yet you're playing right into their game. A man and woman were supposed to become one, and they were supposed to try and work together to get the understanding of how to protect their estate as one, not as two, having two separate checking accounts and all this shit.
Yeah.
It'll be a great day when they annihilate 90% of the people on the face of the earth, because most of them are out here running around as complete idiots.
Hey, that's like
hopefully they take out 90% of the bankers at the same damn time. At least that'll keep us on even par.
I can do a UCC on all three of the girls because I have their certificate of live births also. Correct?
You take care of yourself, okay? Who has custody of the children?
The father has custody of the children, and he has custody of the children because the mother.
Then basically, he's the one that's responsible for those certificates of live birth. You have no jurisdiction over them anymore. They're his estate property until they come of age.
Even though he abused them.
That is something entirely different, okay? I'm not going to get involved into marital because you never hear both sides of the story. You always hear one side of the story, and basically that's total bullshit.
I'm just saying that because that's the whole cause of this whole case.
I'm not going there. I'm trying to tell you what to do, okay? He's the one that's responsible. You've got to make that perfectly clear to the court. But you have to go and get the funds. And then you can turn around and you can, at that point in time, come back, but you have your dowry. It's still there, okay? Utilize it. A lot of the abuses in the family basically are caused because of monetary value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's all about money. Kids want this. Kids want that. And basically the father is out there trying to make a living, and then the wife is turning around and saying she wants this and she wants that, not knowing that she already had her own damn account.
Yep.
You had more damn money than you knew what the hell to do with. Both of you did. Because you didn't go out and claim your estate. And then you blame everybody else. I'm trying to give you a way to understand the game. A means to fight back. But yet too many people only think about the small shit. They don't think about the big picture. I think there was a movie at one time, The Big Picture, back in the 50s. There was also the movie The Millionaire. But people didn't understand what some of these TV scripts, I know they definitely don't understand half the movies that are put out. They just think that they're all just strictly for entertainment and that's it. No, they're for education. They're a documentary. They are documenting a fact. A moral to the story. And see, nobody looks for the moral of the story, the facts of the story. I don't mean to be harsh on you. Sometimes the 2x4 is required to shore up your understanding. To get a little bracing on the subject. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, Pat, I got a question.
Okay.
If you could suggest something to me, my question would be is if I'm out of work and I'm down to nothing, like you said, we have to sacrifice, and I've been sacrificing to learn this stuff, reading the dictionaries, trying to understand this stuff, listening to the calls, and dealing with all the debt that's coming after me in the middle of that, and all the the people around me thinking I'm crazy, and having to deal with that, sitting in the basement, and with nowhere to go, selling my new car so I could have some money to survive and pay the lady the rent so I could keep studying. And now I'm to the point where I have nothing left, and so I filed for unemployment, which I didn't file for the first 3 months of me being fired, because I got fired because I started lacking at work because I was studying a lot. And so now I'm taking the opportunity after working 25 years straight, and I'm unemployed and I need the money, like I said. So I filed for unemployment, but I want to do it, as a man as best I can here, so I can get something to survive, because I'm down to basically nothing and nowhere to turn. And they're sending me these forms telling me I got to fill these forms out this way and this and this other way, and read their rights on the papers, and I'm just not really sure how I'm going to get through to these people to get some resources for my my vitality and my life. So I'm just
try and fill the forms out, okay? Fill their forms out the way they want them, okay? When I went and applied for unemployment back, what the hell was the last time I filed for unemployment? 1998 or something like that. Basically, I went in and we were getting laid off at this one job that I was at. So basically, I went down there, and I normally hadn't gone down and applied for unemployment. This time I said, well, I'll go down there and see. And basically, I found one of the nicest women in the unemployment office there that I ever could have found.
Huh.
Real nice colored woman. And basically, I just gave her the information that she asked for, and basically she filled out all the forms and everything, and that was it.
Okay.
Pleasant. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a sweeter lady than her working for the government. I didn't come in there belligerent or anything like that, and we joked the whole damn time.
Huh.
There are nice people out there, okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go and take a little backtrack. But see, that's your money to begin with. Now, in a lot of cases, they're still going to be writing bonds, but don't worry about that right now.
Okay.
Get some funds, okay?
Okay.
You have to survive.
Right.
You have a right of survival.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So don't belittle yourself of going down and having to do that.
Oh. I gotcha.
But try and get this done as quick as possible, okay?
Right.
To get this UCC or apostille. Apostille is the cheapest way out there. It's only $5 in most states.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Hi, Virtue. Where would you get the apostille? You get it from the Department of State?
Secretary of State's office, the notary department or authenticity department at the Secretary of State. And you would do that with your birthing state, or if you have a DD-214, you need to place that in county land records of where you're living. And then you would do the apostille or UCC-1 with that state to where you're living at. Therefore, you get the second seal from the state. Because, see, that certificate of your DD-214, military bounty certificate, okay, is going to have a county seal on it. That is also a state seal. All the counties are regulated by the Secretary of State in that state. So now you have the county seal, you have the apostille or the UCC seal of the Secretary of State's office, then you place your seal on there. Now you have your 3 seals to crucify this document, to bring it into crucifixion, to settlement.
So all three of these forms now, the executive, the incorporated territorial governor with the birth certificate, when all this stuff, you have all of this together now, this going out to the Secretary of State, right?
When you do the municipal or the executive warrant, that goes to the treasurer.
The treasurer, okay.
Yeah, you want money. Secretary of State don't have no money.
Right,
they have
right.
seals.
Okay, they do the seal
Okay.
and then. All right. I just try because every day you put these different forms. So I'm trying to.
Well, not really different forms. They're all tied together.
Right. So I just try and keep the forms straight.
Mm-hmm.
Which forms go where and which, So
yeah, and this last one I tried to make as simple as possible. Was
right.
that if you, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, that's not going to interfere because I know you were talking about list your driver's license and social
Forget
security
that for
number.
now. Forget that for now. Just concentrate on one item at a time. Your certificate of live birth. Try and get some money, okay? Then as soon as you get the money, then you have headaches to worry about.
Okay, that's easy enough. I could do that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I called the Department of Justice in New York about getting the apostille, and they said they only apostille public documents that were issued by the state.
You called the Attorney General's office?
No. I called
Or
the
did you call
apostille.
the Secretary of State's notary office?
Well, it's in New York. It's called the Department of State instead of the Secretary of State, and they have like an apostille or certificate of authentication section. They do notary and all that stuff too. So I called them and told them that I was sending in a document to be apostilled and how long would it take. And
well, then send a copy of your certificate of live birth in for getting it apostilled.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
Just a certificate of live birth, okay? To get it apostilled. You don't have to say too much else. I need to have this apostilled because I'm going to be dealing with a foreign jurisdiction. And it's got to be under the apostille of the United States of America.
Right.
That's the country you want it apostilled under.
Okay.
Then you get the apostille number. Now you've got the second seal. And then you turn around, you can use another copy of the certificate of live birth, and you put this executive warrant and order on there as you are a territorial governess.
Okay.
But see, they tried to break the families up so that basically the family is not operating the way the Book of Ruth tried to protect the women. They're trying to separate the women away from the protections of their father, their husband, or their dead husband. Now, and basically that's what all these courts out here are doing, they try and get you to separate yourself from your territorial estate. Now, as an individual, what do you become? There's a term for it. A nomad. Or a no one, okay? A nobody. You don't have your body any longer. You're a rogue. And that's what they're coming after, is the rogue side of your system. As a nomad, a wanderer. A wanderer does not have a permanent foundation. You have to have your claim to your permanent foundation, your body, your territorial estate. And the body is part of your territorial estate. And you are the governor or the god over that estate, or the person over the estate, or the sultan, or the king. All these terms mean the same damn thing. But see, we were born in this country as princes of America, because that's what the name America refers to. Amer, I can. A prince of a sultan, a king, or a sovereign who can have the understanding, or who has the right understanding. That's what can means, understanding. I can understand. I can know. They named this nation, and see, this was supposed to be the new Zion, supposed to be America, the land of the people that had the understanding. But they brought all these Europeans and everything else and polluted the damn process. And then the bankers came in and totally screwed it all up. At one time, the Cherokee Nation did know what the hell was going on. See, people don't even understand what Hebrew was all about. Okay? It wasn't about being a Jew or anything like that. They don't understand that basically by marking their houses, they put a red cross on their house. And then basically the Holy Ghost passed them over. Well, they missed the word to. The Holy Ghost is your fictional account that was passed over to the ones in the house. And see, that was from the treasury that the pharaohs were holding, which was
looks like Patrick's phone dropped. So you guys are coming up with some more questions when he comes back? Because he does like to have the questions.
Yeah, did he when he mentioned about the apostille, Tom, was he referring to, when he was finished talking to me, was he referring to something that I can do with the apostille with the unemployment? Did you
No.
No?
No, he's saying to get your unemployment funds so that you at least can survive while you're doing all of this.
Okay. Right.
It's not about and one thing that I guess I misunderstood early on is I was wondering whether we could get our certificate of live birth apostilled, and if we do that, we can, but then we have to send in another copy as the warrant with the other seal. So we're sending in two seals, one an apostille on the back of the certificate of live birth, and then the seal on the front of the certificate of live birth on the one with the warrant on the back is the one that counts there.
The one with the warrant?
The warrant. You've seen the warrant on the form that he sent out, right?
But no, sir, I didn't get a chance to look at that just yet.
Well, you need to. This is
okay.
Key. This is what this whole discussion is about.
Usually I do look at the forms, but this one in particular, I didn't get a chance to see it yet.
The warrant that's there has to be put on the back of the certificate of live birth and sent in.
Okay. And that's sent into the state
Treasurer.
The state treasurer, not the Secretary of State.
Yes, answered that question. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. We get it apostilled from the Secretary of State, and then we send it off.
Yeah. Secretary of State's got the seal. The Treasurer's got the money.
Right. Now, how does a warrant work?
Just a check. You're sending a check into the treasurer saying, give me money.
And they're going to give you money from the birth certificate?
Yeah.
From an account that birth certificate is linked to?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what this whole thing is about.
Right.
The whole call is about
getting
that.
your share, right? Getting your what if you have anything left?
Just getting a piece of your share.
A piece?
Yeah, just getting a piece of your share.
And they're going to determine what we get.
Well, no. Remember, it's a check. We write on there what we want.
Oh, okay. That's all in the form, right?
It's all on the form.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back on.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yes.
I guess your battery dropped, huh?
Yeah.
Now you're all charged up.
Well, it's on charge right now. So.
Yeah, right.
So, any other questions?
Yes,
any questions, guys? Any more?
Yeah, just one more. No one yet has used this and had success with it yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. There's other people out here that are probably utilizing this, that they probably don't have the full understanding in the process of who they are, because I haven't heard anybody claiming to be an incorporated territorial governor in any of their word processing, okay? We've gotten slight remedy from several things, okay? I've backed the IRS off, okay, at the local level. I've backed traffic tickets off. I've backed the courts off in some regards, stating that basically they don't have jurisdiction to charge me with contempt of court because I have the power to purge myself of that. Well, who has the power to purge or to pardon? A territorial governor. I just didn't have all the words down that I needed. Yeah, as a territorial governor, you can, and basically as an elector, you have the right to veto and to override anything that comes out of an administrative court. You have three bodies of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. Which has the higher authority? The executive. You either believe or you don't believe, okay? We were told to believe. That's what really came out of the Bible in the New Testament. You have to have faith and belief in what you're doing. And the problem is, too many people out here are too damn wishy-washy, and they want to wait for somebody else to go out and do their dirty work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never get the right understanding of what the other person did anyway. So they, half the time, screw it up.
Yep.
That's why I was trying to bring people along with me and put all my documents out there for the people to follow along with me so that they knew exactly what the hell I was doing. There's a method to my madness. And in their world, I am totally insane. Or mad, whatever you want to call it. The Mad Hatter in the Alice in Wonderland.
Mm.
We're joining you.
Yeah. But see, all the words that are on there, I mean, basically, you have to know this, okay? The seals. The red cross on the houses of the Hebrews, they were sealing their house, putting their executive authority over their door. In other words, it was almost like a sit-down strike against the pharaohs, against the bankers. The people refused to operate in the dead world. I told you to read the story about the book of Joshua. And it's either in chapter 19 or 20 that basically gives a good example of the court system that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, and the same court system is operating here today.
Mm.
And the remedy that basically the one guy, the visitor to Sodom, ended up coming up with. He turned the table right back on the judge. Now you got to go and read to understand what the hell I'm talking about. But you've got to read these things with an open mind.
Well, I'm working on it, but it's some 400 pages, so I'm go.
See, the Pharaoh came in and started taxing the dead. And what did they do? The church and the state have both attacked your dead under a 999-year lease. They put a claim against your body. the church with the baptismal certificate, and the state with the certificate of live birth. They put a claim against your body. And see, that fiction can now then exist for 999 years after you, the living individual, have died. The fiction can live on. Your goal is to basically bring that fiction to death when you die. You want to bring him to peace. You don't want him lingering around. How many ghost stories out there have been all about this, to where the spirit basically is still bound to the earth, and they have to go in and free the spirit so that they can get on with their life. How many people hang on to the memories of the dead? What does it say in the Bible? Let the dead take care of the dead. You have to continue living. You have to move on.
Yeah, because Egypt was slavery. They had to get the hell out of there.
No, Egypt was basically voluntary servitude.
And they quit.
Babylonia was voluntary servitude. The people placed themselves into debt voluntarily with the banksters. And the banksters were the ones that controlled the empire. The Babylonians, the Greeks. Now, the Roman Empire, the initial one, was a republic. But then it got polluted by the bankers that came in and started going all over trying to take control. That's when they ran Julius Caesar out and killed him. The bankers took over. Yeah, the ones that operate with the dead monetary system, and then the Church of Rome basically came in and put a claim against your body for 999 years, taking your original sin away from you, your original debt. And said, hey, we'll take care of that for you. The original debt is that you owe your body back to Mother Earth. Not in a coffin, not in a tomb, not in a temple, not in one of those damn little jugs that basically after they cremate you and pour all your ashes into. That was never what was intended. And see, then the church and the state, in both cases, have a state incorporated plot number that they're controlling, utilizing your account for their benefit the whole damn time. Your estate.
So they're trying to hold on to the lease.
The lease will, yes, it's still in place. It hasn't been terminated. Only the living terminated his life. But the fiction has continued to live. That's pretty simple.
Our cities are even designed after cemeteries, because cemeteries have roads and lanes and all that, circles and everything.
They are just commercial plots, okay?
Yeah.
They're just like a bank account. They're commercial accounts. And see, that's why you have to go through, and then you can, under that one writ that I was talking about there earlier, that writ of detent, D-E-T-I-N-U-E-E, okay? You put that in to the federal district court as you're coming in as a territorial governor, ordering the incorporated to be unincorporated. Yeah, go and see how an incorporated company breaks up and becomes an unincorporated company. Same process.
It takes about a year or so, and then they let them do it. Yeah, they have to pay off all their bills and stuff.
But see, this one would be a lot faster, okay? Because you're coming in as the territorial governor. You're moving out from being an incorporated territory into being an unincorporated territory. As the governor. And the governor is the chief executive officer of the territory. So what you say goes.
The territory is like a municipality, like you said earlier.
It's our body. It's our estate, our territory. What belongs to us? Our accounts that are being held by the state. That's our territory. That's basically in the state financial books. That's what was incorporated into their jurisdiction, was our assets. We have to come in and claim all of our territory. As we're the governor, that territory belongs to me. How many times have you seen, or basically maybe you haven't seen, but basically in a lot of states out here, their boundaries are a river. Well, if the river decides to cut a new channel and take a hunk of land off of one state, and now it's either out in the middle of the river or the whole river has gone around and now it's over on the other side. The two states get in a conflict because that land really belonged to the other state. And they have to come into a settlement. To bring it to the mutual benefit or settlement for both parties. But anyway, back to this warrant, okay? Does anybody have any problem with understanding how simple this is?
I think
The
I
whole
get it.
thing about when we tried to do this before, and the only person in the state government system going to the Attorney General, going to the Secretary of State, and going to the Treasurer, going to several of these commissioners in different places. The only one of those officers that I was ever met with was the Treasurer. None of the others would talk to me. They'd send their minions out that didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. But the Treasurer came out there, and I had my certificate of live birth in my hand. But I didn't know what I needed to do with that certificate of live birth. We have to have 3 seals of executive authority on that document. The document itself is 1 seal. Then you either have your UCC or your apostille, incorporated municipal number. That's your 2nd seal. And then you, as the incorporated territorial governor, put your seal on there. And then you fill it out appropriately, and then you turn it over to the treasurer. He is going to have to do the endorsement just like the bank does for your check. The endorsement down below. Below for endorsement by Iowa Warrantor as the endorsees. The governmental officials are the endorsees. We are the endorser. They're the warrantor also because they're holding our stuff under warrant. Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to make it more complicated than it is. Okay?
Well, I think I got it, Patrick.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, we got it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, you're gonna post this tonight, right, Thomas? Because I
Yes.
missed the first part.
Yes.
We had a big incident up here in Northern California. A guy went crazy, shot 3 sheriff deputies, killed 2 of them, and killed another homeowner in a carjacking. And it was all happened pretty locally right here. It's kind of a bad scene.
Yeah, that one happened in Marysville in Washington as well.
And surprise, surprise, there was a training act like that by the government just the day before.
Well, the bankers are turning a lot of the MK Ultra people loose out here too, to try and instigate all-out breakdown of society.
Oh yeah, the kid with the blank stare certainly was on scopolamine, nice MK Ultra drug.
Yeah.
Just like Jimmy Holmes in Aurora.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, thank you, Patrick.
Okay, thanks, so.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you
get up
for
to
the
speed.
Thank you for
Yeah,
the
try
good
it.
work.
If you can, walk these things right into the treasure.
That's what I was thinking.
You might be surprised at what the hell happens.
That's what I was thinking. I think I'm going to go do that.
I actually did that once, Patrick. And the guy said, what you need to do is go talk to an alumni at a university, and they'll explain to you like what kind of security it is, or certificate. Because I said, well, you have this treasurer window here, and I got this certificate. Why don't, how can I cash this out? And that's what he said. But he asked, what's your family's name? And then he said, what you need to do is go talk to a university professor, and they'll explain to you the difference in the certificate. So I have tried.
No, you're getting a song and dance, okay? You have the certificate, but you didn't have this shit that I just posted up there to put on the back of the document. Okay, you didn't have your 3 seals. Okay, you didn't have the understanding of what you needed to have. You need to sit and listen to this audio several times over to understand what I'm really saying here about the good thief, the bad thief, and the Jesus factor in the scenario. The 3 crosses, okay?
Yep, I'll listen.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you equate this to the prodigal son, Pat? Would that be a good analogy? Could you put
basically,
in...
the prodigal son is basically the incorporated territory, and that is where you're going to have to bring him back home into an unincorporated territory. And that's where you're going to have to come in as the territorial governor and go to the federal district court and order that incorporated territory to become unincorporated.
The Passover.
Yes, to pass it over back to you. To return your fiction back to you, your prodigal son. Bring him home.
And he brings the inheritance with him.
Yes, the assets will come along with him.
And that's
because
why the father's happy.
you will have your writ of whatever, detain or whatever.
Detinue.
Yeah, basically turn it into a writ of a seize and have the U.S. Marshals go and seize that account and deliver it to you. We've been trying a lot of the right things, but we didn't have the proper standing as a territorial governor.
Which we had to become.
No, we already are.
Already are, yes.
We just have to wake up to the fact that that's who we really are in this country. We are a territorial governor. You go through the definitions, and lo and behold, you'll start finding out, there's only one president, but basically there's a whole bunch of governors.
320 million.
Yeah, you've got territorial governors. You've got administrative governors, all located within the state.
And being that they're subject into that title through their consent to the president. And now they lost their inheritance, gave it to him, And
No,
now,
you didn't give it to the president. The states basically are tied into, the state administrators are tied into the federal level. Okay?
Mhm.
But see, once you become an unincorporated territory, okay, then you will break yourself away from the state control, separation of church and state. Doesn't say separation of nation and state or separation of nation and church. It says separation of church and state, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You have to separate yourself from being incorporated into the state. Then you become an unincorporated territory that is operating within the boundary of the United States of America. And you're still a territorial governor. And you're protected by the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead and call it a wrap.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
Okay.
We'll
Appreciate
get
it.
to
Okay.
work. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.